photography, art, and of course tourism. From ruins to remembrance, the Enugu Photo Festival returns for its second edition, inviting everyone to journey through memory and place. Hosted within the historic Public Works Department building since the heart of Enugu Civil Service, the exhibition explores the city's evolving story through its architectural, cultural practices, and traditional arts. Together, they hope to reflect on how the remnants of the past continue to shape who we are today and how we choose to remember all of it. To talk about it, we're joined now in the studio by Chidera Sam-Eze, who is a curator of the Enugu Photo Festival. Chidera, so good to see your face again.
Good to see you too, Natalie.
Always looking like sunshine and sunflowers.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
So, before we head into the conversation around what you're curating, the photo festival, tell us about your background. Who is the young woman, Chidera Sam-Eze?
Okay, Chidera is, I grew up in Enugu. I was born here, studied in UNN. Interestingly, I didn't do anything concerning photography in school. I studied biochemistry, but it was towards the end of my study that I, met photography, and I realized that this is what I should be doing because, well, it's like when you have an experience that really tells you, this is what it is for me because of, how I like to keep things, how I like to create memories and, just have things. I love to keep things. I just put it that way. So my photography journey started in like 2016. Started with my phone and was doing phone photography. Also interning at studios and trying to learn how to work with the digital camera. And eventually I got to buy my own, learned the whole event things. And then, sometime through it, I was like, you know what, yes, events are cool and all of that, birthday parties, weddings, but I want more. And I started, trying to read more about, different aspects of photography. And, I came to, I learned about documentary and curating, archiving, doing research, and how you can use visual language to tell stories. I attended workshops in Lagos and other places because I wanted to meet other people who were doing the kind of thing I wanted to do and all of that. So I'm generally a creative person. I love to make things. I like to tell stories. I like to use my camera, use my eyes, use my mind to make people feel things from the images that I create. Yeah, that's just to wrap it up, yes.
I mean, so I can relate to that, and it seems as if science people are usually the ones that never stay on track and always find other interests. I'm not saying this to denigrate science. I studied
Definitely
computer science, and here I am. So it's a normal thing. But at that time, because I know in school, photography was just seen as something people did to capture memories of time in school.
Yes.
And we have not really, with the exception of a few people, had the culture, or will I say commercial photography or photography as a career.
Yes.
At what point were you sure that this could be something that could be a career and not a hobby that would have to be undertaken when one is not in the medical lab?
Okay. Like you said, usually you study one thing in school and then you find yourself doing something else, and so yes, eventually along the line, I realized that photography is expensive. As a hobby, as a career, you have to have some money to buy the things you need or get yourself to the places you need to get to do the kind of work you need to do. So what did I do? I had to have other jobs. I had to do other kinds of work to be able to fund myself, to say. And it's a slow process, especially in this region, because a lot of people are still appreciating how photography can be lucrative, especially around here. So when you tell someone I'm a photographer, they say, oh, okay. So you come and snap me now. They think it's all just about the whole wait and take, or maybe taking passports, or, like we say, there's a slang, it's called chere were in Igbo, like just, wait and take, basically. So at a point, when I started studying more about photography, and I saw other people and what they were doing in Nigeria and internationally, it was the limitless, the boundaries that you could go. There was different aspects of it. There was food, there was wildlife. You could get grants, you could, work for organizations, you could, and the thing is, you could also have a gateway, which is like volunteering. You could start as a volunteer and then you keep moving. And so I told myself that if I stay on this, I will definitely make it, because I have seen what other people are doing with this photography, and the world is changing already, or has changed. If you're not a medical doctor, I mean, like unlike before, if you're not doing medicine, you're doing engineering or some other serious, and then they see the arts and the humanities as, not so. I don't know the word to how to put it, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
The way they look.
it's not STEM.
Yes, it's not STEM. So, what are you doing really? But the truth is that the world revolves around, I mean, it's the artists that tell the stories, it's the artists that tell about the times. It's the artists that have to tell that story, they have to document the times, they have to tell what is happening in their own way. And, the world revolves around the humanities and feelings.
That's right.
Yeah.
Photography and art.
Yes.
What's in a photo and what's in an artwork of an individual, a place, or perhaps an animal in wildlife?
Okay. So when the with time, like every moment just passes by. So with photography, you are locking a moment in time. In this case, using your camera, which is like translates to what your eye would see. But first, it starts in the mind. It starts with observing. So when you are, as a photographer, you have to be very observant. I think that's one of the things I've learned with time. So you have to start with your mind first and observe your environment, look at your surroundings, appreciate it. So then you start noticing the little details of life, the little things. There's something I feel like it's the observant ones that get the little gifts of life. Like those passing moments that are fleeting, when the butterfly perches on that flower, and it has to be someone special that has to catch that. And it takes, a special mind to be able to see that and then also to keep that. So photography translating to art is life and life is art. Art imitates life, life imitates art.
Where does art find itself more? In an artwork or in a photo?
A photograph could also be a work of art. Art is not one thing. It could be music as well. It could be theater.
But
it could
this
be
time
a
I'm
poem.
talking about the artist and the photographer. Now, an artist would spend hours painting a single portrait. It might not be Mona Lisa, it could be your beautiful face, right?
Yes.
And then a photographer takes a photo, but he also spends time editing, perhaps hours, days, trying to give you that effect. And I'm
Yes.
talking to every photographer out there that is being called upon to deliver the photo when it's taking so long to edit.
Yes.
So, where would you say art finds its truest form? In an artwork, a painting, or in a photo?
I cannot say one is better than the other, but what I can say is this: in photography, yes, the artist has to use his brush, choose the colors, look at the subject, or paint from his imagination. It's also the same way. You have to first use your eyes, your mind. So you have to bring forth something. It could be that you are creating a particular picture. You have to think about the model, what she has to look like. If you're creating a picture or a portrait or something, you have to think about what she's going to wear, how you're going to present, what the background is going to look like, the colors that you have to play with. So you can also see how this can work hand in hand with painting. You could also look at it as painting a picture. You could also be, observing a subject. If you're a documentary or street photographer, you have to wait. You have to stand and wait in the streets. You have to connect with, like currently we don't like to say subjects anymore because it kind of removes the humanity from it. So you say a collaborator, for instance. If I want to tell a story about you, I would want to gain your trust first. So that means I have to connect with you. I will have to get to know you. Because I want you to be vulnerable, I have to be vulnerable with you too. So we have to have a connection so that I can be able to get what I'm looking for from you.
Artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Do you think the advent of AI, some refer to AI as Ikenga, has Ikenga, some people name their AI, they now even say thank you and sorry to AI, okay? So Ikenga has become quite real for many. Do you see artificial intelligence threatening the pockets of photographers in 2025?
This conversation has been coming up a lot. Even recently, I was at a Abuja Photo Festival, and in one of the panel sessions, we talked about artificial intelligence threatening photography. And something someone said when it resonated with me. I think there is no competition with artificial intelligence. It has its advantages and disadvantages, no doubt. But I think that with time, it will just take us back to the roots. People would now want to go back to the photographers because, I mean, these days, because of AI, there are so many things that there's misinformation. There are so many things that you can barely tell what images are real. So I think people are now going to now start appreciating photographers more. People who have the actual eye to make photographs that matter. And yeah.
So let's talk about your festival. When I saw the post on your festival, the first thing that came to mind was, how can Chidera sit down and curate, organize a whole festival? And it's not a single day. You're doing this over a number of days. Some of them registered, some of them free for all. I'm sure Namdi and I will jump on the free tickets, right?
Yes,
so we have a lot of things happening, and you're curating this. It's no small game. When did you start conceptualizing and organizing all of this? When did you decide that November was going to be the month of Chidera?
So last year was the first edition. We told the story on coal. And before then, I had observed that, towards the end of the year, people are, wrapping up with work and all the serious things of life. And one of the best ways to relax is to appreciate art, to look at art, to be entertained, to do things that you like. And I saw the pattern where most things that are art related come towards the end of the year. From October, we're celebrating, there's Arts Week, there's Fashion Week in different places and all of that, and then November and December. So I felt like, November would be a great time to, you know, do my parts in, creating something. And then, after that, I rest. Yeah.
All right, so tell us about it. What should people expect? What are the highlights of it? Why should people attend? What's when they can go on a virtual tour with Ikenga? Why go for the photo festival?
Okay, so it's also important to interact with photographs physically as well. I mean, virtual exhibitions are really cool and all of that for people who cannot do that physically. But there's also there's something that happens when you stand in front of an image or a painting, or you connect with it. You can even touch it. You can look directly at it, and you can feel something, immediately with it. People should attend from Remembrance to Remembrance second edition because you're going to see images from the past. You're going to see images apart from artists in Enugu, you're going to get images from different artists from around Nigeria. I mean, Enugu Photo Festival is not restricted to just Enugu, and you will see different things, and you're going to learn one or two things about the history of the culture.
Give us the plot. What's the story of this festival? What story are you curating? What are you telling on each of these days? How does it all reach the beginning, get to the climax, and then the anti-climax? What is going to be the entire experience of each participant?
Okay, so for the opening, firstly, the theme from Remembrance is having a conversation about bringing back our historical practices, traditional practices. How do this, like our spaces, our architecture, our cultural arts and crafts, our folklore, how, what was the significance in the past? These things played a role in our history in the past. The uli body art, it was the women's art. It was also replicated on walls and on, pottery as well. So the idea is to bring back these things because they seem like they've almost been forgotten. They seem like they are almost lost. They seem like we don't practice them anymore. So we're trying to bring this back into our memories, to reflect on them and to see how they have taken space in today's world. How do we interact with them now? How have they affected us and how, our cultural identity, our existence currently, and how do we keep these things for the future? How do we preserve them more? How do we carry it into tomorrow? Yeah.
So I know in things like photography, it's a craft. So everything is a mentorship training thing.
Yes.
I'm sure somebody guided you in the early steps. So
Yes.
With these exhibitions, are there also, is there any structure in place, like young people who are interested, that can bring them in and even set them on the path, for continuity? Because sometimes a lot of great projects stop not because of anything, but because those who were doing it
Do not
are no
continue.
longer there.
Yes.
So is there any, continuity plan?
Yes, so definitely, apart from the exhibition that will be ongoing, we have a portfolio review, we have workshops on writing and archiving and how to, create photo essays as well. That's part of the activities. We're also going to be doing film screening because, films are part of the visual expression, the visual world. So we're going to also be having films screened as part of the festival activities. And then, so there's a program that is a collaborative program from other artists around Nigeria. It's called Art Space Negotiation. And, I'm honored to be a part of it because of what I'm doing. Because the whole idea of From Ruins to Remembrance, even the exhibition venue is in an old building. It was the Public Works Department building, built in 1928. So it plays to the theme because it was a way for me to really talk about that space and how it's the civil workspace. It was the civil workspace. Yeah. So the whole city was revolving around there, and that building is still standing today. It has stood the test of time. So this program, Art Space Negotiation, is how do artists negotiate with spaces in their communities? How do they create? Where do artists go to create? Where do they go to be artists? So that's why I felt like that venue was going to be a very important one. So there will also be a film screening that will specially happening on one of the days at the same time across board with all these other partners about how to build the library in one of the old spaces. Yeah.
All right. I mean, just listening to you and hearing you speak, you have such a warm personality. You have a personality that is welcoming. And I don't think anybody will watch this interview and sit at home on 11th of November.
Please don't.
I mean, it's just like you remind me of rosemary. That's my favorite spice. It reminds me of home. So I wish you great success in your event.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. So from 11th November, do well to make Chidera happy. Attend this photo festival, and maybe you can answer the question: where is art finding its truest form? In a photo or in a work of art? The monitor returns in just seconds, and we now go to another hard-hitting conversation around what Huriwa thinks about the military threats of military action in Nigeria by U.S. President Donald J. Trump. Stay tuned.